Okay, that's good. That's good.
Full disclosure, I came in here to shoot this video, and within like 3 minutes, my boss is running in here saying we're off the air. And I didn't touch anything. I didn't do anything. I just set up my tripod. I swear I didn't push any buttons. It just happened. My mere presence broke it. So earlier this week on my social media, I teased that I have moved. So without further ado, I'm an ASMR influencer. And I'm stepping into a new role, and the people at my new role wanted me to make this, so I'll share it with you too. Hi, I'm Julie, and for almost a decade, this was me.
$5 billion. That's with a B. That's how much weather and climate events cost the United States last year.
And one person is dead after a crash.
Look at her, cold, soulless.
Behind blue eyes.
Good evening, Miss Lane. Miss Lane.
Lois Lane.
Lois Lane. She's about truth. She's about justice. She's ballsy as hell.
I'm not a lady, I'm a journalist.
And I wanted to be her so badly.
No, I'm fine, really.
But in this issue, Superman calls Lois an idiot.
I'm the idiot.
And Lois is not an idiot, but she is a comic book character. And I found myself chasing a work of fiction. A deeper meaning than just comics. And listen, I still love telling stories, and I was good at the news business. I was nominated for an Emmy, humble brag, but I lost.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Ultimately, I found myself feeling a bit inauthentic, not telling enough stories that made a difference, boxed in. Ugh. So I left, and I decided to live just a little bit.
I'm like a duck that didn't form properly.
And in the 9 months I've been gone, I've been traveling, vlogging, carving my own path, and telling some jokes.
On me like a French girl, Jack. $1 bill, $20 bill, $5 bill. I'm just a bill.
Yes, I'm only a bill.
Can you say buttface on the radio? Pause. The rest of that is just about analytics and social media. But officially, I am going into radio. Okay, so let's talk a little background information on how I've gone from being a TV news journalist to being a radio lady. A few months ago, I guess it's been now, I was doing this YouTube live talking about all the changes that are happening in local news that kind of made me feel, oh, I don't know, not quite right. They don't have the people to send out to tell these stories of their community. Then like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And then a few of you guys suggested, hey, have you ever thought about going into radio? And this is where the chips fall together, because I crap you not, 3 days later, the program director with 92.9 The Beat, which is in Springfield, Missouri, that's about 80 miles or so from where I'd been living, where I grew up, reached out and said, hey, we've got this new position and we really want to talk to you. Can you go to lunch? So I go to lunch with them and everything sounds almost too good to be true. So I'm a little bit like, We talk a little bit more, I meet with the general manager, and I think, wow, like, this is amazing. I don't want to miss out on this. It felt right in my gut. I wasn't actively looking for something, but this just felt right. What's ironic is not only did that happen after a few people had suggested, hey, consider going into radio, but it also happens after I start this affirmation that basically goes, I do not chase, I attract what belongs to me. I can't say exactly what I'll be doing with the radio station, but I'm really excited to be creating, to be cultivating, to be using my voice once again, to talk to people over the airwaves. So when we get everything officially finalized on when you're gonna be able to tune in and to listen, I'll be sure to put that on the interweb. So also on Instagram and my Facebook page, I post the question, ask me anything, I'm answering it in this here video. And we're gonna do that right meow. The first question I just need to straight out address because I find it to be so wildly inappropriate. And I'm gonna say names, because if you're gonna be there on the internet doing that, why not? From Frankie Marcinowaskoski. Did I say your name wrong? Great. He asked, what's your bra size? And then Matt Freeman, who posed a question himself, liked that question. His question, Matt, when are you making an OnlyFans? Matt, first off, thank you for your question. I am my OnlyFans. Second off, Matt and Frankie, when in society did we think these are the appropriate questions to ask a complete stranger lady on the internet? Let me just answer these questions. There are only a few times in life when it's appropriate to ask a lady her bra size. And it's never to a stranger on the internet. It's if you're a plastic surgeon and you're getting ready to do a boob job, or if you're going to buy her a bra because you're an intimate lover, and you gentlemen are neither of those. So maybe hit delete next time, or keep it up in your thinking head and not on your typing fingers. Next question. Okay, Michael says, I'm a huge history nut. What's been your favorite place to visit over the last couple of years? One of my favorite places that have historical meaning is first off gonna be in Jamestown, Virginia. That's where we know Pocahontas was, and her story is so much more than that cartoon that came out in the 90s. I would encourage you to watch that adventure. I've got it linked below. And the second place I thought was really cool that had historical significance was this place in Croker, Virginia, and it's a salvage yard, but in that salvage yard are these huge statues of almost every US president. I've also got that video linked below if you wanna go check those out. I'm also a history nut, so these places really intrigue me. The place that has the presidential statues, obviously there's something visual there, but Jamestown, in editing that video where Pocahontas had been, there's not a lot of stuff that was really visual there. There was a spot where they believe that Pocahontas got married, and not to John Smith, by the way, BT dubs. So yeah, check those videos out. I thought those were really good. That's a great question. Josh wants to know how the weather is where I'm at, and it is great. It is early September in Missouri, and if you don't like Missouri weather, just wait 5 minutes, right? It's just gonna get saucy. Jeffrey wants to know, if I was stranded on a desert island, what are 3 things I would bring with me? 1, I would bring a cruise ship. 2, I would bring a captain for that cruise ship. And finally, I would make sure the gas tanks are full. I'm leaving that deserted island. You're not gonna keep me away from things like my dogs, boxes of Little Debbie's, and my very comfortable bed. Vicky Keith is wanting to know how me and my husband met. We actually met kind of in college. It's a long story and I don't want to sound too crazy about it, so I'll try to condense it. But he was like captain of the football team, and I did track at the first college that I went to, the college he graduated from, and so he would see me running around the track for cross country practice while he was doing football practice. And eventually I transferred out to a neighboring university in the same town, Springfield, where I live at now. And he had this game that he would play with his like floor mates in their dorm called Queen of the Campus, and it's whoever you thought was the most beautiful girl on campus would be your queen, and it was his friend's role to embarrass him in front of his queen. I was the queen, and now that's at that. Sorry, I have to like kind of sit on my foot to make myself high enough. Maybe I'll just go back to standing. Mike Scott is on here. Mike, I'm pretty sure this is the same Mike Scott that pops into my YouTube live. So Mike, it's good to see you in my Facebook comments. I see your question that says, if you go anywhere in the United States, where would it be? And that's a really good question. So 2 places that are kind of coming right to mind. I would like to see Lake Tahoe. I think I've seen some paddleboarding photos and it looks really beautiful. I also want to go to this place called The Wave in Arizona, and it's these rock formations, which we have rock formations in Missouri. I know that you all have watched those videos that I've made where we're talking about that. I'll link those below. How many times am I going to say I'll link that below? So Missouri's got their own set of rock formations, but these are really cool, the pattern within the rock. So those are 2 places I'd like to go. Tim is asking what happened to the last segment of Ask Me Anything. And Tim, I'm gonna be very honest with you. I forgot about it. I got busy and I forgot. Jean is asking if I desire to become a mom. One time Jennifer Aniston answered this question and she said, I feel like I've mothered many things. No, currently I do not desire to become a mom. I like to say to people when they ask me this questions, I don't feel like pooping in front of a room of strangers onto a steel table. And that normally like shuts that question down. No, it's just not for me right now. Maybe one day. Dawn is asking, what are the top 3 places that I feel are kind of unknown in North Carolina? Solid question, and I can answer that reasonably quickly. I don't know how unknown they are. They're just places that I really enjoyed. The first place I'm gonna say is Shackleford Banks. You have to take a ferry to get there. It's off the coast of Morehead City. The second place, you also have to take a ferry. The ferry ride on both of these is only like 15 minutes, so chill out, you're not gonna be on there for hours. Would be Sand Dollar Island, and what's really cool about this is when the tide is low, sand dollars pop up. For the most part, we found a lot of live ones, but we found those dead ones too, and the dead ones you can actually take with you. The live ones, however, However, it would be a terrible death to suffocate on air, which is what I imagine happens to those guys. The third place, I'm gonna go out of North Carolina to answer this because this is one of my favorite places, is Massey's Gap in the Grayson Highlands. It's this beautiful spot that overlooks the Blue Ridge Mountains, but then also they have wild ponies there. So Kathy is asking, first off, she compliments me. So Kathy, I wanna say thank you. She says, I find your journey very courageous. Her question is, what helped or gave you the courage to leave your career and begin this wonderful adventure? Several things, I think, in the making, and one day I hope to, I don't know if I'll talk about it or not, but I really found, I don't know. I remember one day I was sitting at the news desk and I was reading the teleprompter, like out loud, live on TV, and in my mind, I'm thinking, is this it? Like, is this it? And so I think that was kind of the beginning. I'm not saying I would never do news again, or I'm completely shut off to the idea, but for now I think this is the right decision. I've done so much growing, so much healing. I've had the opportunity to like really look at mental health and address those issues that otherwise I would have never done. I would have never even thought about. 2 years ago, I thought mental health was a joke. I'm from the Midwest, and the mentality is kind of just shove it down and go on. But I had the opportunity, thankfully, to pause and really reflect. So I feel like stepping into my like true self, which I know kind of sounds crazy if you've never gone through it, has really allowed me to continue just doing what I want, I think. So there were several little things that led to the decision to leave news, and some of those things were hard. But ultimately, I think it's beautiful. I like to tell people that I'm the phoenix going through the flames, and the change has been very painful. The flames have been painful, but I feel like I'm rising to this new beautiful creature. Rob wants to know if I've always been this beautiful. And Rob, I would like to answer that question and say, I'm never this beautiful. This is all lights and angles, baby. Richard wants to know, what do we not know about AM morning news? And the answer to that question is, you do your own makeup, you do your own hair. Everybody thought I had a glam squad around me and they would let me know. They'd write in their little emails and they'd say, you need to fire your makeup artist. It's like, surprise, buddy, I'm the makeup artist and I'm not exactly looking for a way to not pay my mortgage because you didn't like how I didn't do my eyeliner today, okay? So no glam squad. John is asking if I have any desire to return to broadcast journalism. Not currently, but right now I'm working on a few projects that I'll be releasing through my YouTube channel. I'm gonna call them Sunday Stories, and I'm really excited about them. I'm gonna go through, this will sound really boring, but I promise I'm gonna try to make it interesting. Where I'm going through, I'm cleaning out my closet, and I'm parting ways with all my newscaster clothes, because now I really don't need them. Because you don't need to wear a jewel tone dress when you sit behind a microphone and try to put the word butt face into a segment every morning. So I'm working on that, but I'm also working on a story that's been passed down for a couple generations through my family called Two Bodies, One Grave. I shot that with my dad last week, and it's gonna be a good one. Cameron wants to know, how is your YouTube, Facebook personality so much different than your news anchor personality? I almost can't believe it's the same person. I think that for a long time, I felt like I had to just zip it up, not be myself. I kind of grew up thinking I'm too much, and I've transitioned into this thinking of, if I'm too much for you, that's fine. I don't like everybody. I can't expect everyone to like me. That's ridiculous thinking. I spent my 20s kind of being a people pleaser, always trying to do things right and never stepping out of line. And I think that created a bit of like an anxiety to some extent, definitely socially. And then I was always really curated on what I put on social media because I didn't want people to think that I was weird or annoying or loud or too much of this or too much of that. But now I don't care. And that is a very beautiful place to be in, that place of, you know what, I'm just gonna be authentically myself. If people don't like it, that's fine, move along, other people will like it. Moving into Instagram, George Wilson 89 is asking, have you ever been to Charlotte, North Carolina? And George, I would like to say yes. And I have a very fond memory of Charlotte. That's not only where one of my really good friends, Lindsay Klein, lives, but it's also the place that I saw boy band Heartbeat Backstreet Boys in concert for the very first time. And then, ironically enough, I had to work the next day. And keep in mind, I was working morning news at the time, so you gotta be in at like 3. And so the concert wraps up like at 11. I was not gonna miss this concert. I'd always wanted to see the Backstreet Boys. They were in the state. I was living like 2.5 hours away. So as soon as the concert ends, I get into my car and I book it straight to where my first live shot's gonna be. And I get there like 45 minutes early. I take a little nap. For some reason, during this time, I'm still so pumped from the adrenaline of seeing Nick, AJ, Kevin, Howie, and Brian that I don't really need sleep. So I nap in my car for like 45 minutes. I get there a little early, and that's that. I would also like to say that Kevin from the Backstreet Boys liked my Instagram post. So yeah, I'm still flying high on that one. Juicy2868, I hope I said that right, is asking why so many people are leaving local news. I think the answer to that question is, well, I think that there's many layers to that. And I don't want to speak directly to the deep layers, but I think on the top, the issue is in many places, the pay is very poor. You're working all day, all night. You have no social life. Your hours are ridiculous. Your workload is through the roof. You don't have time for a social life. If you have a family, you don't have a lot of time for that. I've seen a lot of women step out of local news lately, and I think that's people who've stepped back and thought, I want a family, I want to be there for my kids. Men I've also seen leaving the industry behind. So I think through the pandemic, people really had the opportunity, especially with working from home, to step back and decide like, am I really enjoying this? Do I like this? Why am I doing this? And they started looking for avenues out. That's the kind of the short answer. The long answer is pretty deep and needs a lot of dissecting. But I think offhand that would be a pretty good reason for a lot of people why they're leaving. Cameron72 is asking if I'm a dog person or if I'm a cat person. Cameron, I hope that you won't reject me. I hope you at home watching on YouTube won't reject me, but I am a dog person. I don't mind cats. It's not that cats bother me. It's just, I don't know. I feel some sort of spiritual connection to the canine world. I feel connected to dogs. I don't know what that means, spiritual connection to the canine world, but I do prefer dogs. Dusty LT210 says, come back to North Carolina and maybe I'll come for a visit sometime. I have friends out in North Carolina. I like the landscape. Right now though, it's not on the list. Paul_24 says, hi Donna, how are you?
So just out of curiosity, no reason.
Ironically enough, I'm wearing a jumpsuit today that's denim, so the Donna question. I'm assuming that you're making a reference to that 70s show. No Eric here, but a lot of sarcasm. But Major is asking if I grew up in a funny household, and the answer is I'm very much like my dad. My dad's a pretty funny guy. He's a good storyteller, and you guys will see that. I mentioned earlier how I'm gonna start doing Story Sundays. He's the one that actually walks us through the story of Two Bodies, One Grave. It's a story that his grandpa told to him. So I think I'm a lot like my dad in that aspect. I can kind of go with the flow, talk to pretty much everybody, and because of that, I think humor, yes. Also humor, if you're funny on the playground, your bullies won't mess with you because who wants to mess with the funny kid, right? Bluewater3443 is asking, how long have I been married? And the answer, my friend, is 500 years. Yeah, it's been a while. I'm actually the corpse bride at this point. No, it's been almost 10 years, 8 years. It's on the higher end of things for now. Man-beard fabrication, I have no clue what that means, asks if I miss being a daily news reporter. Sometimes. So when I left news, I did something that I think was really important. I unfollowed every single form of news on my social media platforms, so I've kind of been uninformed, blissfully uninformed. I think it was really needed. But when major events happen, I find myself missing telling the stories of people that are involved. 9/11 came around and there's just so many, I don't know, stories that I think need to be documented. That's what I miss, is documenting and documenting things in a way that grabs people's attention and helps them become more informed. So I think I missed that. As far as the daily news grind, we had a saying in every newsroom that I've been in, or that I guess me and my news friends constantly said, called feed the beast, just feed the beast, and the beast is always hungry. D. Swinson is asking, are children small or just really far away? And that's a deep question. And I would like to respond with another question. Is the sky blue, or can we just not see all the colors with our limited eyes? D. Swenson also wants to know, where's the beef? And I do know the answer to that question. It is in 1997. The beef is between NSYNC and rival boy band Backstreet Boys. It's fueled by Lou Pearlman's greed. Johnson 2021 is asking how often do I eat Taco Bell and what's my favorite menu item. I'm assuming it's because I made one of my first viral videos involved saying I have a Taco Bell stain on my shirt. And the answer is yesterday I had Taco Bell. I had 3 crunchy tacos and I added tomatoes and they were delicious. But my favorite thing is that taco that has the fried chicken as the shell. They don't have it right now, but I'll put a hurtin' on Taco Bell when that thing comes around. Lori wants to know if me and my husband are separated, and the answer is no. I'm gonna keep him. If you've seen his beard, you can't just go out and find a man who's got a beard like that. And that's gonna wrap it up. I was hoping that I'd get all this shot in time to go to hot yoga class, and that hot yoga class starts in 4 minutes, so I probably am not gonna go to that. Side note, I started doing hot yoga again. I haven't done it in like a year and a half, 2 years, and my shoulders, they hurt, so please add me to your church prayer list. And as I'm able to share more details about joining the 92.9 The Beat family, I'm gonna share them with you. In the meantime, go below, go follow 92.9 The Beat on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I've been working with the team and we've been putting out some, I don't know, I think pretty funny TikToks. I don't wanna brag, but thank you for your questions. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, and next Sunday, hopefully I'll be able to get out my first Sunday story. I can't decide if I want to work on Sell the Damn Dresses, which is the title of one, or Two Bodies, One Grave, which is the title of the other, which features my dad. So maybe comment below which one you want to see. You know what? I'm gonna let you see another portion of that demo reel that I put for the radio station, because I think that is very applicable to this moment, as in, I don't know how to end this. Roll tape. So America, as you head to the polls this fall, make sure you're voting yes on whatever you want. Honestly, I do not care. I just do not know how to end this video. Fade to black. Fade to black. Can we fade to black? Okay, fade to black.